What's good, internet? Jake here, dumb as ever, and in today's video, I'm diving back into my 5 random Transformers series. Recently, I was watching fellow YouTuber and friend of the channel Bot's Obsession, and he said this about me.
Perspective End. By the way, speaking of, what's up, Batkibble? So the reason the other Batkibble guys aren't on here is because Dumbjake's not a reviewer. Sorry, Dumbjake. Dumbjake's not a reviewer, but I do watch Perspective End.
First off, watching Perspective End, cringe. Secondly, I'm not a reviewer. Excuse me, but has Bot's Obsession not seen my award-winning Transformers review compilation, 5 Random Transformers #1? Whatever, man. Artists are never respected for their vision. Anyway, over 2 months later and I'm back to review 5 more Transformers I randomly found on my desk. Plus, I'm going to be reviewing the newest Blockies Classic Class figures of Starscream and B-127 from Transformers 1. This is the second time Blockies are sponsoring me, so shout out to them. Alright, let's get into the reviews, and remember to like and subscribe so I can defeat that villainous algae rhythm. Studio Series Bumblebee movie Shockwave. This is my second favorite Shockwave design. I'm not going to say the first, but I'm sure some detectives in the comments can guess it. But in my mind, this is the perfect live action design for Shockwave. Like, the Dark of the Moon design is pretty cool and metal, but Shockwave isn't usually known as a huge brute like he is in that movie. This Shockwave looks cunning and calculating, and the toy captures his look perfectly. I love how flat his head is, and they gave him the little downvote at the top of his eye that makes him look angry. This is a common design element they add to Shockwave now. Personally, I don't mind it, but I can see someone preferring his face just being devoid of emotion. Also, shout out to Hasbro for giving this guy light piping for his eye. It works really well too. The evil scientist is gunmetal gray and purple, a badass color scheme, though it does feel like the thigh areas of the legs could use some more purple. I know that isn't the design, but I would just prefer if that was the design. There's also the silver paint on some areas that implies paint scratches, which I like. I know some people were very anti-battle damage on the Siege figures. I actually like that about them. It just added more character to me. I wouldn't call the silver marks on Shockwave battle damage though, it's just part of his design. One detail I love is the Autobot symbol on his arm. In case you don't know, the Cybertron scene at the beginning of Bumblebee was created really late into the production of the movie, so many of the characters made for it use assets from other characters that were already made. For Shockwave, I believe they built him off of Optimus Prime's model, and as a result, he ended up with this rogue Autobot symbol on his arm. My headcanon is that this Shockwave has a similar backstory to animated Shockwave and was a mole in the Autobot ranks at one point. It's fun they kept the detail on the toy, even if it might be a bit confusing for uninformed fans. His laser arm is interesting. It's not like a huge weapon, and the barrel is pretty small compared to the rest of the cannon. But I think it makes sense for Shockwave to have a weapon that requires more exact aim. He seems the type to target weak points of his enemies. Also, I swear the blaster is shaped to look like it has an eye and mouth. Am I crazy? I also really like his transparent purple chest. It's just nice to look at. The transformation is super simple and takes like 2 minutes, which is kind of fun for a bigger figure like this, since it feels like Hasbro overcomplicates transformations sometimes to make the toy seem like a better value. If you know me, I love the H-Tank design, and I love this Shockwave alt mode. Lately, they've been trying to push the spider tank look for Shockwave's alt mode, and I low-key hate it. I don't know, man. This Shockwave's tank mode is just perfect to me. I love that the cannon extends and it can rotate 360 degrees. You do have to deal with the rubber hose getting in the way, but you can just unplug it and plug it into a side that works better for the turret position. Also, he rolls. Thank God, I'm sick of tank modes with no wheels. Overall, this is a fantastic figure and easily one of my favorites in the collection. A must-buy in my opinion. Transformers Armada, Smokescreen, and Liftor. I always say that Transformers Armada is my G1. While my first Transformers toys were technically Beast Machines and RID-01, the toys and show I actually remember is Transformers Armada. Armada was also my most collected Transformers line of toys as a kid. I mean, I had a lot of the main cast. In fact, the only main characters I can think of that I didn't have are Thrust and Red Alert. Anyway, Smokescreen has always been a design I liked thanks to his blue and orange color scheme. And as I was recently rewatching the show, I realized I really liked Smokescreen as a character as well. He's called a warrior like Hotshot, but in reality he's much more of a protector Perceptor. And Optimus even entrusts Smokescreen with the ultra-powerful Skyboom shield. Friend of the channel Delta Tryon recently put out a video essay about Smokescreen on my recommendation, and I highly encourage y'all to check it out because it is really good. Anyway, like with all Armada toys, you get a Transformer and their Minicon partner. In Smokescreen's case, it's Liftor. These two are a great pair with the matching color schemes. Let's talk about Liftor first. I really love his head sculpt and the little eye patch thing going on. I think it's meant to be like a targeting or analyzing eye. He's got a surprising amount of articulation due to transformation, leaving him with elbow and knee joints, which is impressive for a little guy like him. He actually has better articulation than Smokescreen, who ends up being a bit of a brick in robot mode, though that was pretty much the style of Armada. I'm not sure I would describe any of the figures outside of Bendy Prime as posable. I love his blue face and red eyes. I like when villains have blue eyes and heroes have red eyes. It's cooler to me that they don't have to be defined by eye color. Like most Armada figures, he has a few action features. The first and most obvious is the giant crane arm that's on his shoulder. It admittedly can't do that much, but using the Minicon or just pulling the crane arm out unleashes a giant cannon with a spring-firing missile. This thing is so long it's dumb. The crane literally triples in length, which is just awesome. His other action feature is this little hook and rope on his chest. The hook has a little port so you can attach a Minicon to lower it down or pull it up. You can also use it as a child leash so Liftor can't run off. You can recoil the hook manually, or you can click the switch on his shoulder, which lets you use his back wheels to retract the hook, which is a very fun feature which I never realized existed as a kid. Oh, also, word to the wise, make sure you push Smokescreen's shoulders in all the way. You should hear a distinct click, and the shoulders shouldn't move backwards much when they're fully clicked in. Like most of Armada, transformation is dead simple for these two. One feature I like about Smokescreen is that his head and crane are connected, so when you rotate the crane, his head moves in the same direction, so you can kind of puppeteer him with the crane. Liftor's vehicle mode is some kind of race car forklift, which is kind of fun. Smokescreen turns into a bizarre looking construction vehicle that is a car with a crane on it. I don't know if anything like this exists in real life, but I do think it's a really fun alt mode, and I wish more Transformers turned into weird stuff like this. Also, the Autobot symbol on top of the car is actually a little hatch you can open, which is neat and a totally unneeded feature. Overall, this is a childhood toy, so the nostalgia goggles are on hardcore, but I will say if you don't mind limited articulation and goofy gimmicks, the original Transformers Armada Smokescreen is a really good time. Let me ask you a question. In this review, we're going to be talking about Transformers Animated Cybertron Mode Optimus Prime from 2008. Transformers Animated is my favorite Transformers show, and I was hooked from the very first episode. Of course, in episode 1, the cast has Cybertron modes because they haven't crashed on Earth yet. To me, the idea of Cybertronian modes was a totally new concept, with the only exceptions being the movie's protoforms and some episodes of Armada. The idea of a toy for a Cybertronian mode blew my mind. Sadly, Animated was towards the end of my original Transformers collecting era, so I never got a lot of figures including Cybertron mode Optimus Prime. So, with my adult money and my child brain, I bought one from eBay. This is an absolutely incredible deluxe figure. He just gives Animated Optimus's vibes so well. The Animated line is great because Hasbro really did their best to accurately portray the cartoon characters. Back then, they cared a lot less about scale, so some figures are way too small and others way too big. Optimus here is probably a bit small compared to the rest of his crew. The designers replicated the design so well, the toys look as angular as the cartoon in the right poses. The colors on this guy are perfect. I love the yellow highlights and dark blue plastic, and look at all the face paint they gave him. Hasbro was just giving this stuff away in 2008. His articulation is good, but a little dated with no ankle tilt and a lot of ball joints. They even gave him enough articulation to hold his axe with both hands, a very rare feat in the toy world. Speaking of his axe, he comes with one. Animated Prime's axe is his most iconic weapon, and this toy gives you a lot of options. You can have the axe one-sided or double-sided, and Prime also has a shield that combines with the axe to make a huge double-sided axe. I kinda love that. The animated toy line wasn't super gimmick heavy, but I think the way Hasbro incorporated weapons into the toys is really fun, though some may consider it parts forming. Transforming this guy is really fun and very interesting for an Optimus Prime toy, with the axe handle being held by both the hands for transformation animation, and the shield becoming the roof of the truck cab. While the incorporation of these parts is cool and clever, it can be really annoying to get everything lined up perfectly. I absolutely adore this Cybertronian truck mode. I loved it the first time I saw it on TV, and I love it now. This has to be my favorite Optimus Prime Cybertronian alt mode. There have been a lot, but I feel like this design is alien enough and still interesting. I love the translucent blue windshield broken up by yellow headlights. This Prime pairs perfectly with the new Legacy animated Optimus. Overall, I'm super glad to have this toy, and playing with him for this video reminded me I really need to buy more original animated toys. What do you think about animated Cybertron mode Optimus Prime? Let me know in the comments below. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the TF science guy himself, Studio Series 86 Perceptor. Since I grew up with Armada, I always knew Perceptor as the combined form of the main Minicon team. But when I was a little older, I watched Transformers the movie and met the OG himself. I love the idea of a scientist that literally turns into a microscope, and Perceptor here just has immaculate vibes. His red and baby blue color scheme makes him look super heroic, and his giant magnifying glass on his left shoulder makes him look like a threat. I will say his shoulder weapon does block his face a ton if you're posing him from the left side, but it's pretty posable so you can work around the issue fairly easily. His only accessory is this nice red blaster, though I find it a bit annoying there's no place to store it on his back. It's really fun to play with this figure since the magnifying glass is so posable. You could have him aim at the Decepticon Seekers no problem. I also like to open up his chest plate so he can examine things in robot mode. My only issue with his articulation are these leg joints. They're necessary for the transformation, but I do feel like they're a little loose on my copy and can make him a bit fiddly. Also, you can give him a goofy blaster head mode if you want. Transformation into microscope mode is really simple, though I wished his legs would lock in a bit more. They're just kinda loosey-goosey. Perceptor's microscope lens doesn't actually work, so no examining bacteria with this guy, sadly. We're not done here though. Perceptor is actually a triple changer. In a few simple steps, Perceptor changes from a dorky microscope into an even dorkier tank. I like his little treads even though he doesn't have any wheels to roll, but his legs do actually lock in, which is nice. This mode is a cute approximation of a tank, but it does feel like it was just thrown in for kids that don't really like science that much. Overall, this is a super fun and posable figure that perfectly reflects his G1 movie appearance, which is the whole point of the figure. What do you think about Studio Series 86 Perceptor? Let me know in the comments below. Ciao. Studio Series 86 Optimus Prime. When I was growing up, I had one VHS of Transformers Generation 1. It was an episode where humans found Optimus Prime's dead body in a spaceship that was just floating around or about to hit some planet or something. The details are hazy because I haven't watched the episode in a long time, but I remember being kind of confused on why Optimus was not functioning in the first place. Of course, later I would watch Transformers the movie where Optimus is killed by Megatron, so I kind of have this funny relationship with G1 Optimus, where I know him way better for being dead than alive. Anyway, the best part of Transformers the movie is the attack on Autobot City, where Optimus Prime drives in and starts whooping Decepta ass. Studio Series 86 Optimus Prime is a perfect representation of the character we see in the movie. He just aura farms so hard by just standing there. On my shelf, he usually is just in a standing position with his ion blaster strapped to his back, and I think he just looks so badass standing among the other Autobots. He also comes with his trailer, and it's nice and big and can transform into his medical repair bay, just like the original G1 toy. He also comes with his little pal Roller, who can actually fit headmasters in the little seats. Optimus himself is fantastic. He's just so pleasing to look at, and I love the colors they chose, especially his windows, which have this cool sparkly blue color. Speaking of his windows, these small gaps bothered me in pictures, but in real life I hardly noticed them, though I do feel like they could have made them look cleaner. I've heard some people say the head sculpt is inaccurate, and it very well may be, but I love it regardless. The eyes especially look great to me and have the specific G1 angular look to them. I also love when they give him white legs. Usually Optimus ends up with gray legs, but I think the white legs just pop, though it does make him look way more Gundam coded. The proportions are fantastic. It just really feels like Hasbro cooked this guy to perfection. And given the importance of the 86 movie and the Commander class class price tag, they basically had to make it perfect. But shout out to Hasbro for actually knocking it out of the park this time. I know some people are worried about 86 Megatron, but I'm really not, because Hasbro worked really hard to make this Optimus look good, and I just can't imagine they want to fumble the matching Megatron. A few nitpicks I do have are that the smokestacks are just way too loose and will rotate a bunch during play, and the handle of his ion blaster is just a bit too short, so it feels a bit more loose than I would like. Also, I know some people complain about the backpack, but I really do not see the issue. It's a bit bulky, sure, but mostly it just fills out the back and helps him not look too flat from the side. It does feel sometimes like parts of this fandom just need to find something to hate about a figure getting a lot of praise. Okay, transformation is really fun and involved, and I'm going to be a total hypocrite here. In the Shockwave review, I said I think Hasbro sometimes overcomplicates designs for the sake of it, and arguably this Optimus Prime may be the worst case of that, but there have been so many Optimus Prime toys, especially G1 Optimus Prime toys, I can respect a thorough and slightly challenging transformation that this version provides. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong, but the back parts that are supposed to plug into the cab seem to not plug in a super flush way. I fiddled with it a lot, but for some reason I just can't get those pieces to plug in. But besides that issue, the truck mode is perfect. The way the transformation fills in the truck cab is pretty amazing, and some more of those sparkly windows appear. The figure includes some really amazing blast effects that let you do the thing where Optimus boosts into the air in truck mode from the movie. This is easily one of the coolest display options for an Optimus Prime truck mode. I really love that they included it. This figure is no doubt the best generation's G1 Optimus Prime ever, and it will stand out proudly in any Transformers collection. It's a must buy in my opinion. Hey, thanks for watching. If you like this video and want more of these review videos, please like and subscribe. And if you want to support me past that, check out my channel memberships. For $1 a month, you get access to an exclusive Discord server and can join our monthly movie night. Next month, we're watching Small Soldiers on
March 8th, 2025.
Don't worry if you can't make it though, we will be watching more movies in the future. Alright y'all, I got more content on the way. Ciao.